The husband's former wife and daughter returned to claim their share of his family home after we created a will. However, during the court proceedings, we discovered something very shocking. I'm a 45-year-old woman who has been married to my husband, Michael, for the past decade. We first met when we were both in our early 30s at a local art gallery. Our initial encounter happened while we were admiring the same painting, sparking a conversation that felt like an instant connection. Michael eventually asked me out on a date, and as we got to know each other better, it felt like we had known each other forever. I come from a family of 3 siblings where money was always tight but manageable. We could only afford fast food on birthdays, and my dad taught us the value of hard work early on. I worked hard to put myself through college, taking on a few modeling gigs on the side. By the time I graduated, I had no debt and had worked my way up to a junior associate position at my company. Michael's background was quite different. His family was financially better off, with his dad holding a good job with a high salary and social security benefits. They never had to worry about money, and his parents could cover all his college expenses due to his dad's influential position at his company. Michael started with an internship there and worked diligently to carve out his career path through dedication and effort. Despite coming from different backgrounds, Michael and I bonded over our shared love for art and music, which deepened our connection. However, Michael's 17-year-old daughter, Candace, never really warmed up to me. She seemed to blame me for her parents' divorce, even though I only met Michael after his divorce from his ex-wife, Amelia. Michael and Amelia's marriage lasted only 3 years. They were college sweethearts who decided to marry, but things took a turn for the worse after they tied the knot. Amelia became a stay-at-home mom while Michael worked hard to support the family. One day, Michael came home early from a work trip and found Amelia in bed with his best friend Tom. It was a devastating betrayal that left Michael shattered, losing 2 important people in his life in one day. He filed for divorce, which was bitter and contentious, mainly because Amelia wanted to keep their house, even though it rightfully belonged to Michael. The disputes didn't stop at the house. They also involved a tough custody battle over Candace. Because of Amelia's cheating during their marriage, the judge didn't give her the house but did grant both parents custody so Candace could stay close to them both. However, Amelia's resentment about not getting the house grew, and she influenced Candace over the years, turning her against her father. Michael decided not to tell Candace about her mother's cheating, trying to protect her from their difficult history. I learned about all of this when Michael and I started dating. He wanted to be honest with me, which I respected. Once, Michael invited Candace to join us on a trip to Africa, hoping it would help us bond. I was hopeful, thinking it could be a turning point, but things didn't go as planned. During the trip, Candace seemed annoyed with me and would get angry for no reason if I got too close to Michael. She called me hurtful names like gold digger. Michael scolded her for her behavior, but she just smirked at me, showing she wasn't ready to accept me into her life. Despite the complications with his ex-wife and daughter, our love was strong, and I was ready to face these challenges with Michael. We had a lovely wedding with our close friends and family, although Amelia and Candace didn't attend. Our marriage started off well. We traveled and continued with our careers. I was passionate about mine and didn't plan to give it up. Meanwhile, Amelia and Tom were living together, and Candace had her own place thanks to Michael's support. She worked in social media at a good company. After 3 years, we were thrilled to have a son. But my pregnancy was tough, especially when Candace visited. She would make hurtful comments about my weight and appearance, saying mean things about how Michael would leave me because I had gained weight. I talked to Michael about this, and we decided that Candace would meet him at cafes instead of coming to our home to avoid more stress for me. When our son Nick was born, we were overjoyed. Even though I became a parent, I wanted to keep working. So we hired a babysitter to help out when my maternity leave ended. I returned to work eagerly because I valued my financial independence and wanted to continue my career. Despite being in a good place in our lives, Candace's issues with me seemed to get worse after Nick was born. At family gatherings that we organized, Candace would target Nick and try to bully him, which made him cry and look to us for help. While I understood her feelings toward me, I couldn't let her take her anger out on her innocent son, so I told her she couldn't come to our house anymore, and we stopped hosting family events there to avoid further problems. As John and I grew older, we realized the importance of planning for the future. We decided to create a will to make sure everything was in order. John had already provided a flat for Candace, so he designated me and our son as inheritors of our family home. His remaining assets, which were in his personal savings account, would go to Candace. I also had my own assets that I planned to leave to our son, ensuring he would be taken care of. When Amelia and Candace found out about our will, they were furious. Amelia called Michael, insisting they deserved the house because she was married to him first. Michael stood his ground, reminding her that he had always provided for Candace and that our son should inherit the property. This angered Amelia even more, and she sent me a hateful text message. I showed it to Michael, who advised me to block her and not engage further. The next day, Candace came to our door visibly upset, clearly wanting to discuss the will. To avoid any scene in front of our son, I arranged for my parents to take him away. With just us three, Candace insisted that my son and I should give up the property because she believed she deserved it as Michael's firstborn. Despite feeling irritated, I stayed quiet, letting Michael handle it. Michael explained to Candace that he had always provided for her and that he had a commitment to secure our future as well. He assured her that he would leave her his savings but that the family property was for me and our son's well-being. Candace then turned to me, demanding that I do what she thought was right. I calmly supported my husband's decision, which only made her angrier. She raised her voice and threatened legal action. Not wanting to make things worse, I asked her to leave us alone. In a few weeks I received a legal notice from Candace and Amelia, informing me that they were taking me to court over the property. They accused me of marrying Michael for his money and manipulating him into giving away their family property. We consulted our lawyer, who assured us that their claims were weak legally. Still, I couldn't shake my worries, especially for our son's sake. As the court date approached, tensions at home grew. In court, Amelia's lawyer insisted that Michael should prioritize Candace as his first child above all else. They pushed for a full trial to determine property ownership, which in Colorado required a jury trial, making things more complex. The looming trial had us both anxious, especially since Amelia's lawyer resorted to digging up our past to strengthen their case. Out of nowhere, Tom called and wanted to meet us at home. Michael had cut off ties with Tom after finding out about his involvement with Amelia, but I thought hearing Tom out might help settle our dispute sooner. When Tom arrived, we were wary, thinking it might be a trick from the other side's lawyers. But surprisingly, Tom came to talk, not to play games. He confessed that he and Amelia had been romantically involved before she got pregnant with Candace. Amelia even believed that Candace might be Tom's child, but because Michael was more financially stable, she stayed with him. Tom had urged her to tell Michael the truth, but she refused. Michael was stunned by this revelation, sitting quietly as Tom spilled everything. It was a bombshell none of us saw coming. It was shocking to learn how long Amelia had kept such a huge secret from Michael. She fought over the property while hiding this truth, which was hard to wrap my head around. Tom explained that he stayed silent because he believed Amelia loved him. But seeing our family's pain during the court trial made him realize the truth about her. He cried, asking Michael for forgiveness. Michael, still processing everything, stayed quiet. I felt a mix of anger and frustration, especially seeing Michael's emotional turmoil. He had believed Candace was his daughter all his life, and now he was learning it might not be true. I used to ignore Amelia and Candace's rudeness to keep things peaceful. But with the truth out, there was no reason to pretend anymore. I immediately told our lawyer about Tom's confession. Our lawyer said we'd need solid evidence like a DNA test for court, so we invited Candace for dinner under the guise of catching up, planning to discreetly get something of hers for the test, which would support our case. Candace came over, surprised but still rude as ever. She mocked me and my son, confident that she and her mother would win the case. I brushed off her insults, hoping it was the last time we'd deal with her behavior. After she left, we got Candace's cup for the DNA test through our lawyer. On the court day, we got the news that Tom's confession was true. Candace was Tom's daughter. I felt relieved but also sorry for my husband, caught up in this mess because of his ex-wife's lies. I told the lawyer I was ready to testify and share our side in court. He agreed it was the right move. As I spoke in court, I felt angry at Amelia's deceit, sorry for Michael, and determined to stand up for our family's rights. Taking the stand, I answered our lawyer's questions, sharing details about my past, career, and how I continued working after marriage. I talked about the emotional pain and abuse from Amelia and Candace over the years, providing screenshots as evidence. I told the jury how Candace never accepted me, even skipping our wedding, and how she had been cruel to our son. Then I revealed Tom's confession and the truth about Candace's paternity. Candace looked surprised, exchanging words with her lawyer. Our lawyer presented the DNA results, confirming my words. I saw satisfaction on Amelia's face, knowing her secrets were exposed. Candace seemed shocked, like her world was falling apart, mirroring how we felt when we first learned the truth. In the courtroom, emotions were intense. With the truth out, Amelia and Candace had no case to argue. Amelia looked defeated, and Candace, who was confident before, now faced the consequences of her mom's actions. Their lawyer had no case left to fight. Thankfully, the jury quickly made a decision. The judge said we would keep the family home, just like Michael wanted, and the jury agreed that Candace and Amelia had no rightful claim to it. Since then, we've heard different opinions from family and friends. Most understand and support us, but some think we were wrong to reveal everything and hurt Candace. What do you think? Was it right to keep our property and go to court, or should we have handled it differently? Update: It's been 3 days since I last updated you, and I've read all your comments and advice. Many of you think Candace might have already known about her mom's lies, but I saw her reaction in court when we showed the DNA test, and she seemed shocked. Winning the court case has relieved a big burden for me. I'm not focusing on the negative opinions from some relatives who think we did something wrong. We didn't start this court battle, we just told the truth. I'm not worried about my future anymore, and I'm happy with how things turned out. But my main worry now is my husband, Michael. He's still processing the shock of learning Candace's real dad. It's been tough for him to eat or sleep well since finding out she's not really his daughter. I can understand the pain Michael must be feeling trying to accept this truth. Amelia's actions during their divorce were already hard, and now learning about Candace's real father is another blow. I suggested therapy for Michael to talk to a professional who can help him cope with everything. He starts therapy next week, and I hope it helps him. Update. It's been a month since my last update, and we're slowly moving forward from this difficult situation. Michael has been going to therapy regularly, and I can see him improving, although it will take time for him to fully heal. Surprisingly, Candace reached out to us last week. We didn't expect her to want to talk to us after everything, but she called to apologize for what we've been through. Candace reached out to apologize, and although I wasn't sure if it was genuine, I didn't push it. She confessed her jealousy towards me, thinking I took her father away. She admitted to hating me, which I already knew. She believed her dad cheated on her mom, but during the court case, she learned it was actually her mom who cheated. This shocked her, realizing she'd been living a lie. She asked Michael to stay in her life, and he promised to always be her dad, no matter what. This made her cry, like she needed that confirmation all along. Candace also said sorry to me and hoped for my forgiveness someday. I wasn't ready to pretend things were okay between us yet. I've been focusing on my family and son lately. Since I couldn't spend much time with him during the court case, I'm planning a surprise vacation for us to relax and celebrate. If anything interesting happens, I'll update again. Update 3. It's been 3 months, and out of nowhere, Amelia showed up at our door. I was hesitant about letting her in because of past shouting matches that could disturb our neighbors. We allowed her in but warned her that any disruptive behavior would prompt us to call the police. Amelia shared that Tom had left her and asked her to leave his place by the end of the month. She was upset, saying he didn't want to marry her anymore after seeing what Michael and I went through. Now she wanted to stay with Candace, even though Candace didn't want her there. We found out that since the trial, Candace had stopped talking to her mom, accusing her of manipulating her. Amelia came to us hoping we would talk to Candace and convince her to let Amelia move in. However, before I could respond, my husband spoke up strongly for the first time. He reminded Amelia that he had bought the apartment for Candace, so it was up to Candace to decide. He pointed out that Amelia had never apologized for cheating on him and now expected help. He also mentioned that he was glad Tom had left her after seeing the truth. Amelia tried to justify her actions by saying she was afraid of being homeless while pregnant, but her excuses didn't sway us, and I asked her to leave. We felt we had given her a chance to explain, but it was time to end the conversation. After Amelia left, Michael talked to Candace about the chance that her mother might try to stay in the apartment. He warned her that once Amelia moved in, it would be hard to make her leave. Candace promised she wouldn't allow it. She planned to change the locks and tell her mother she wasn't welcome. As for me, I'm tired of all this drama. Michael and I have been thinking about selling our house and moving to another state to get away from all this chaos. I stressed the importance of considering a move for the well-being of our son and our marriage. Despite being a tough decision, Michael has agreed, especially after Amelia's unexpected visit highlighted the need for distance from her, given the uncertainty of her leaving us alone. Leaving this city feels like the right decision. Michael can work remotely, and I'm willing to start fresh at a new job if it means escaping from these toxic influences and finding happiness. We'll start the process of selling our house next month, aiming to begin a new chapter in a different place by the end of this year. It's time for us to close this chapter and start afresh.